This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact.
So what does acting your age mean when you're in your 70s, your 80s, even your 90s? I'm Jeff Sonnier. Stick around. We'll bring you to this Charlotte Retirement Center where they're sharing life lessons and memories of the old days with a whole new audience.
Getting help for a child with Down syndrome as well as their families, one organization's message says, you're not alone.
And I'm Jason Terzis, where on the outside it looks like a regular house, and it is. But on the inside, there's a shrine dedicated to an iconic 80s musician. We'll tell you who and take a look inside coming up.
Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. The days are long, but the years are short. We say that about our kids growing up, but the same is true about our parents growing older. And if you're caring for your parents, living longer isn't always the same as living better, but it can be. Carolina Impact's Jeff Sonnier introduces us to some people proving it's possible. Jeff?
Yeah, we're at the Aldersgate Retirement Center here in Charlotte, where they're finding out that dwelling on the past isn't necessarily a bad thing. Not when those memories, those years of experience from years ago, can also benefit so many other people today.
You're in.
At every retirement home,
Put your other ball somewhere in here.
there are life lessons
Good shot, good shot.
we can all learn.
We have retired professors, clergymen, medical people. We might be old, but we're not doddering, you know. So.
Life stories we can all share.
The thing about it is we're dying out, and there's not going to be anybody left to tell those stories.
Sometimes all we have to do is just ask and then listen.
All day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter.
We took damaged planes that they brought in at Mars Field here in Charlotte, and we would go out and take that piece of metal off of the fuselage, and then we would rivet that. It would take two people, one to use the rivet gun and one to buck the rivets.
Dot Horn's been telling that story about her work experience during World War II to family and friends for years. And now, at age 96,
Getting on up there, I tell everybody I'm old as dirt.
Dot's retelling her story, this time to an audience on a stage.
I was one of the Rosie the Riveters. Many a day I'd fill my mouth full of rivets. I'd do one, they'd buck the rivet, I'd do another. I was just spitting rivets.
Dot and the 6 others on stage are all part of a storytelling project called Acting Our Age. All seniors, all living here at Aldersgate, all meeting once a week to write down what they remember from their past. It's sort of a group diary, a collection of stories that they read back to audiences as a living history lesson.
And we took blueprint and theory and math, and then in the afternoon we worked with the drills and the rivet guns. It was the time that everybody pulled together, worked together for America, for the war effort. But you didn't hear people complain about it because it was something we knew we had to do.
Other stories recall a time we weren't so together.
200,000 people converge on the nation's capital to rally for civil rights.
I have to move from the back of the room to the front line. I'm going to take up your challenge to go to the March on Washington.
This has been one of the great days of America, and I think this march will go down.
And then there are the personal stories, group members talking about the moments in their lives that changed their lives.
When I was 70 years old, I found out that I was adopted.
There's some pathos in our stories. There's some humor in them. There's some hard knocks that are in there.
You'd think after 30 years of hard knocks in the business world,
Industrial engineering, human resources, operations management.
George Moffitt would be ready to take it easy.
There's a caliper that goes on.
But when he's not teaching neighbors the finer points of bocce, George is also using his work experience to mentor younger workers.
Good to see you.
How you doing?
Here at the retirement center, the housekeeping crew and kitchen staffers he sees at Aldersgate every day.
But I think there were 10 people finally who graduated from our group. I believe every one of them has gotten a better job within Aldersgate, or in a couple cases outside of Aldersgate, because of the training.
How you doing, Mr. Marquez? I'm all right.
Quay Houston met for 10 weeks with George while working his normal shift here at Aldersgate, sometimes over coffee in the cafeteria.
Quay had no computer skills at all, and I saw it, but he had a lot of love for baseball.
He used to make me put RBIs, home runs, batting average, and everything. He used to put it in a spreadsheet where I would understand.
And I saw an opportunity to use baseball statistics in such a fashion that he could learn something about making a spreadsheet.
And after a couple of weeks, I started getting it.
Quay came out of his shell, and we found out that he was an insightful young man, had good ideas, wasn't afraid to share them by the end of the program.
That's the wisdom that's passed on from generation to generation.
Gerontologist Dr. Lyndall Hare oversees both the mentoring program here at Aldersgate and the Onstage Acting Our Age project, which is now being made into a documentary, capturing the stories that slip away in so many other retirement communities.
I mean, we all know that when we work with elders, there are lots of stories. And my hunch is that in every retirement community in this country, you know, there are the equivalent astounding stories.
Thank the Lord that I can still remember to be able to tell them. And it was literally a part of my life that I lived that I would never forget.
Yeah, I love hearing Dot's story. Love hearing all the stories here at Aldersgate. They're the kinds of stories that never really get old, but also might never get told unless you ask someone who is getting old, you know, to tell their story. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. We've made a commitment here on Carolina Impact to explore more issues that help us all live our best life. Well, speaking of making a difference, each year 6,000 families in the U.S. learn their baby has Down syndrome. It's the most common U.S. chromosome-related diagnosis. While the condition remains the same, the world has changed when it comes to services to help both the child and the family. Carolina Impact's Todd Wallace has more.
A couple of things about toddlers. They often have to be told no.
No, that's not yours.
And they don't know the word can't. And there is no can't or even quit in 17-month-old Emery Bailey.
I think that he has amazing perseverance. He's a problem solver. So I see every day where he's trying to figure out new things and really just explore the world.
I gotcha. The words on his onesie say it best. Emery is one dynamite dude. And just like any mother, Sonia Pasco is as proud as she can be.
His little heart is just so innocent and he's so loving. His smile just lights up our world.
Wherever he's going in life, Emery is well on his way. It may be hard to believe that while Sonia hoped for this reality, at one time she feared another one. While she was pregnant, she got a call no parent wants to hear, that her baby has Down syndrome.
I did cry about it. I cried a lot of tears. I cried a lot of tears. If I had $1 for every tear I had, I'd be a millionaire.
Sonia was thrown into a world filled with questions and concerns. What could she do? What should she do? And where could she and Emery's dad, Adrian, go for help?
I have ability to provide resources and direct programs for you.
Holly Zipperer is the executive director of the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte. The organization has one mission: to serve as a reservoir of resources for families with children who have Down syndrome.
Medical need, this educational need, but call me and then I'll see if I can connect you with the people that are important.
The Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte was founded in 1986 by a group of parents of children with Down syndrome. Holly and her team serve 10 counties in North Carolina and 2 in South Carolina. It's a lot of territory, but never too large to make a house call.
I am not a sit behind the desk kind of person. I'm a boots to the ground, in the field kind of gal.
Los animals experiment.
Yeah, and then you beat me almost every time.
And the Foremans are one of Holly's favorite families to visit. 12-year-old Reed loves putting on a show, whether he's jamming on his guitar, practicing karate, or showing off his beatboxing skills. Toby and Sherry learned Reed has Down syndrome just minutes after his birth.
When you get a diagnosis, the biggest feeling is fear because you don't know what your future is going to look like.
The Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte has helped them ease those concerns. And while they're not denying the differences in Reed's life, they now view them through a very different lens.
What they've been able to offer us step by step to see the opportunities and to see the programs, couldn't ask for a better organization and a better heart for seeing that they are tried and true and they're able to do the things and celebrate their achievements.
The Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte teaches parents to support their child's skills, hobbies, and interests, just like any other parent for any other child.
I do my best when working with families is they'll say, I don't know what the future looks like for my kid, and I'll say, presume competence, presume that they can, that there is possibility, and let them follow that.
The organization offers support groups, social programs, summer camps, and a first call program.
We have families who are trained to support the new families to our community of Down syndrome through that first year, to help them through that, what naturally is a little bit of a grieving process when they get that diagnosis.
And that help continues from diagnosis to adulthood.
Being more independent, making decisions. How do you interview? What are your skills? What do you want to do in your career? And some of them maybe have never thought about that as a possibility.
The Foremans are doing their part to make employment for people with disabilities a real possibility. They're the owners of Harvest Coffee in Charlotte. The company was inspired by Toby's brother, who had an intellectual disability. Toby and Sherry, like the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte, believe everyone should have the chance to earn money and feel valued.
Here we go, up! In roasting coffee, grinding coffee, and from a basis of employment, what we can do to teach them how to become viable members of our community and productive members of our community.
For now, the only job Emery and Reed have is to keep meeting or surpassing expectations. And they have a lot of help, including older siblings they adore. For homework, Reed wrote "The Person Who Inspires Me" about his big brother Luke.
And he makes me feel special.
Bye-bye.
So far, Down syndrome has affected Emery's ability to speak. He has 3 therapy sessions a week, but he doesn't need words to show his love for Big Sister Justice.
I'm sure going to try my best to make the world a better place for him and for all the other kids like him.
These families and the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte prove a devastating diagnosis is no match for great therapy, superior programs, and love. For Carolina Impact, I'm Todd Wallace reporting.
Thanks so much, Todd. If you'd like more information on all the services available through the Down Syndrome Association of Greater Charlotte, head to our website at pbscharlotte.org. Have you ever heard of Juneteenth? It's a very important date in our history. Slaves in Texas learned they were free, and Juneteenth became a part of our country's story. Carolina Impact's B. Thompson has more.
Just teach my daughter honestly as much as I can and just show the world how strong Black women are.
It's important to me because it's our history. It's the truth of the country we live in, and also because I have a little girl, a Black girl that looks just like me and is gonna grow up in this world, and I just think it's really important for her to know the truth, even starting now at a young age, and that she won't have to wait till she's older.
Meet Raven and daughter Kennedy, who, along with her aunt Latrice and baby cousin London, are getting early lessons in culture and activism. For them, this early exposure to heritage was the Juneteenth festival.
It is about heritage and culture, bringing
to you guys our rich heritage and powerful culture. That's what Juneteenth is about.
22 years ago, the owner of the House of Africa in Charlotte began the local Juneteenth festival as just that, a way to connect African Americans to the homeland and their culture, while educating all to the contributions and the culture.
That's something that we have to live every day. From Kwanzaa, the 7 days of principle, we need to live that every day, talk about it, not just during the months of Black History Months. Juneteenth, the same thing. We need to learn about it and accept it every single day that we are living.
While most Americans see the 4th of July, 1776 as the day freedom was declared in this nation, for African Americans, it was June 19, 1865 that became the significant Freedom Day, a full 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation and 4 months after the 13th Amendment freed all slaves. The word finally arrived for enslaved Africans in Galveston, Texas. These moms utilized the annual festival as a teachable moment.
I don't think it really is the school's responsibility. I think we know our culture more than anybody else, so we just have to do that job and pass it on to our children.
Juneteenth chair and retired Superior Court Judge Shirley Fulton agrees the early knowledge is critical.
We need to learn our culture first, and then we need to teach it to our kids. I think it's absolutely from a cultural aspect. The school system is not going to teach that, as they take away more and more of the basic things like cursive writing and African American history. I don't know what history they're teaching now, but if we're going to teach our kids, African American kids, about history, the onus is on us.
And my family was very intentional on, especially my uncles, the ones that went to college, were very intentional in teaching me about like who I am as a Black woman. Maybe not so much the entire history, but just like the foundations of it.
For the Levine Museum of the New South, providing a venue for the festival also allowed the participants to see the evolution of the South through its Cotton Fields to Skyscrapers exhibit. Adding to the history, these mothers want their daughters to know and understand.
For a person who studies U.S. history and African American history, I understand that they're very much the same and they are essential parts. You can't understand one without understanding the other. So it's important to go back and capture that history because I think once you have a true understanding of that history, then and only then can you know what you are truly capable of as a group in the U.S.
For the babies, part of the fun is the joy of being on an outing with mom, seeing different things and simply being excited. For the moms, it all means much more.
As a Black person, I just want her to be proud to be Black. I don't want her to ever have to feel like she has to diminish herself to fit into society. I want her to be able to wear her curls and not be against the law to rock afros to a job interview. I just want her to just feel empowered.
She's Black for a purpose. She's a woman for a purpose. And I want her to know that in everything that she is, there's a purpose for it.
Early lessons in culture and girl power. For Carolina Impact, I'm Beatrice Thompson.
Thank you so much, Bea. It's always exciting to learn about the rich heritage that our country has. Well, before we wrap things up, we've got a fun story for you right now. The word fan, it's short for fanatic. People can be fanatics of everything from sports teams to video games, political issues, movie stars, pretty much anything under the sun. Carolina Impact's Jason Terzes introduces us to a local fanatic. She's taking her admiration for a music legend to a whole new level.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Prince Rogers Nelson, singer, songwriter, record producer, dancer, actor, filmmaker.
A brilliant musician.
Funk, rock, new wave, R&B, and pop. He did it all.
A brilliant songwriter.
Known for his eclectic work and flamboyant stage appearances, Prince won 7 Grammy Awards, selling more than 100 million records, and with the advent of MTV, became an icon for a generation in the 80s.
It carried me through so much of my youth, and even into my adulthood.
Minneapolis was his home, but it's Charlotte where some of his personal items reside today.
I don't know.
It just happened.
Once we acquired the pants, then all hell broke loose.
Simply said, April Morrison is a Prince fan. She's even got the tattoo to prove it.
It hurt.
She saw him in concert at least a dozen times, keeping all the ticket stubs, which are now framed on her wall. She even met him a few times, but was always too nervous to say anything.
There he was, and he handed me a carnation, and then he was gone. It's like that dude just disappeared.
The first time she saw him live, April was just 17.
And we got front row, and I took my grandmother and my aunt, and my grandmother loved Prince.
When grandmother Betty later got sick, April left college 6 months before graduating to take care of her, and she did so for the next 10 years, until her passing in 2003.
She died right here, like right in the spot where I'm actually sitting. We closed the room off.
Yeah.
My aunt and I closed the room off for a very long time. And then one day I just woke up and said, you know, we need to start living again.
April started turning the room into a home office, and things were looking up. But then came the day, April 21st, 2016.
The breaking news that the pioneering musician Prince has died at the age of 57.
They found an unresponsive male in the elevator. CPR was initially started, but was unsuccessful.
I've thought about it a lot. Why did his passing affect me the way that it did and the way that it has? And the only thing I can say is that, like, when something unexpected happens to you, we don't have a playbook, we don't have a rule book, we don't know how we're gonna react. And for some reason, you know, it felt like somebody knocked the wind out of me.
April already had a bunch of Prince posters. She then had an idea, transform the room into a Prince-themed museum.
I thought to myself, okay, well then let's do it.
And I swear to God, it was like an avalanche. I don't know what the hell happened. I have no idea.
First up on the purchase list, Prince's custom-made black pants.
Those came from his bodyguards family.
Soon came everything from framed records to buttons, even a purple love seat complete with Prince throw pillows, and personal items owned by the icon, like his credit card organizer.
This is my favorite because it's a mobile gas card. Like, when's the last time you saw one of those?
She has his purple tinted sunglasses and a tambourine used in his home recording studio.
So this was a makeup compact, and there's a fingerprint. We don't know if it's his or not, but I like to think that it is.
There's movie scripts to Graffiti Bridge, as well as his handwritten original version of Purple Rain.
So this is his writing?
This is his writing, and some of it's in pen, some of it's in pencil, some of it's in marker.
Then there's some big ticket items, like the leggings he's wearing in this picture, which were once given to his ex-fiancée.
And it's like, oh my God, we gotta have those. We flew up there and picked them up.
We just started collecting. I mean, literally, we just went crazy.
Another highlight, Prince's custom-made suit, complete with embroidered purple accents, which inexplicably turned up in a Colorado thrift store.
It's a rare four-piece suit. It's got the shoes, the pants, the jacket, and the cape.
Most of the items April and husband Andy have acquired came from eBay or private sellers.
We do have paperwork with everything.
But just don't ask what everything cost.
Oh, I remember what we paid for everything. Every single thing. You can point at it, I'll tell you. Don't put it on the camera, though.
But it's not just the one-of-a-kind items that make their room so unique. It's also the room itself.
Because it is. It's a work of art.
On the wall hangs the front bumper of a Pontiac Grand Prix, an exact replica of the 1971 version used on Prince's Sign of the Times tour and album cover.
I had to take it apart and then patch the holes and the rips and the fiberglass, sand it down, and then paint it.
Every detail was accounted for, including the license plate number, 1987 expiration sticker, and flashing neon lights.
And then I had to turn it into a lamp.
But the biggest job for Andy, the floor. These aren't just hardwoods, they're custom-made purple-tinted oak hardwoods.
He was like a little mad scientist forever out in the garage trying to mix and come up with the purple stain, and he would put it on pieces of wood and he'd say, what about this, what about this?
I told her if she would marry me, I'd get her anything she asked for.
The Prince Room serves many purposes: home office, showcase for a musical legend, and sanctuary.
It's grown to serve another purpose because I really absolutely know that my grandmother would love it.
She needed this. She needed this to help her heal.
Grandma Betty would no doubt be proud, and I'm guessing Prince likely would be too. For Caroline Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
Thanks so much, Jason. Wow, what a collection. April says they're done collecting Prince memorabilia, at least for now anyway. Primarily because they've run out of space in the room. I always admire passion. Well, that's all we have time for this evening. Thanks so much for your time. We always appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
A production of PBS Charlotte.